Hey everybody, this is MVS Cosplay here, and no, this is not Off the Runner, a Gundam and Gunpla podcast. That one's taking a bit of a hiatus because my team on that show, we're all good. We're just having trouble with scheduling us to get together. But this is, well, a certain movie came out last weekend. You could say it's a venomous movie, and it was awesome.
Mhm.
You could
I
say
agree.
Carnal. It was good.
You tried. You tried. Alrighty. So, yes, we are talking about Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and there is quite a lot to be said about this movie. So, joining me today is not my usual guest here. So, let's start introducing yourselves, starting with you, Johnny.
Hi, I'm JonnoChrome. I'm a horror artist. I'm a huge fan of Venom and Spider-Man in general, and I do some voice acting online, and I draw a lot of Venom, especially this month. And I think what's good about this is it kind of confirms to me that Venom is now a spooky month character. So I'm happy about that.
Oh, yeah, definitely, because the last movie came out in October as well.
Yes. And it definitely was a horror movie. I'd say,
More so with this one.
Oh, specifically, yeah.
Alrighty, and my last guest is Naomi. Want to introduce yourself, please?
Of course. Well, I basically like to be known as BrideOfSpiderMan, which is my Instagram tag. So I would say I did really like this film. Knowing me, I'm becoming more into Venom. I mean, of course, I'm a Spider-Man fan, so he'll always be my honey bunny for sure.
Yeah.
But Venom, super badass for sure.
Mm-hmm. So,
Spider-Man is like the one thing I always say is like, yeah, everyone loves superheroes, but everyone loves Spider-Man's childhood.
Yes.
He is.
mhm. So, what I thought about this movie, firstly, was there's a bit of a big difference between this movie and the previous one, especially with the fact that it's different directors. Andy Serkis directed this one, the iconic motion capture guy who played Gollum.
Hey, I didn't expect him to direct anything.
Me
Sorry.
too. And let's see. So, with his motion capture background, he definitely
Mm-hmm.
knew what he was doing with these two characters of Venom and Carnage, and it shows.
Definitely does. Like, because he knew how to capture them to make them look fluidly like they're there. Like it wasn't just like put Venom and Carnage on the screen. It's like no, he knew. Like both of them, I like that they moved differently than the other. They didn't just move like oh monster guy. Like Carnage is more wily, Venom is more bulky, so they really play that into it.
Mm-hmm.
They,
What
they,
Agree.
did you think? Like about oh, and here's something. The fact that you could see the symbiotes this time because it's you see a lot more of it going on with this movie compared to the last one where we only really had one chat between Eddie Brock and Venom with Venom coming out of him. We had a lot
yeah,
more of that going on.
yeah. I really like that they play that up.
It's like instead of yeah, sure, we still had that inner monologue that Venom would have with Eddie, and it looks like Tom Hardy's just talking to himself. But the fact that you see more and more of Venom coming out of him just to talk to him was a lot better compared to the last one.
Mhm. That was really cool. I like that. I think what I liked about that is it harkened to the comics, like because in the comics, Venom would like sometimes jump out of Eddie to like put his face near him and everything and all that. Like it was a really like yeah, the inner monologue is pretty cool, and I get that that's more quote unquote realistic. But I like that the second movie really went for this is a comic book monster movie. Like it went off the rails at times in the best of ways.
Mhm. Yeah, I would agree on that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the fact that even did that with Carnage too.
Yeah. Which can we talk about Woody Harrelson Carnage? Like that was if that ain't perfect casting, I don't know what is, Like that was so I don't know, like it was like it's something so well done. It's like you see Woody Harrelson, yeah, he plays these kind of characters. Then you see his performance as Carnage. It's like, yeah, this works. This just works so well for him, you know.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
also give Carnage a haircut, you know, like
Oh gosh, good
Not
because
to
that
mention,
stupid wig.
Harrison had a good sense of humor in a psychotic way.
Yeah.
yeah, like
Check
in a
that.
it was very very much creepy killer, which I mean that's the Spider-Man. Some of the Spider-Man villains have been always silly, but then like there's Carnage and Venom who have been like teetering the line of they are horror characters in this very kid-friendly superheroes world and all that. And I like that they just went all out with that. They just went like, yeah, this guy kills people, you know, kind of thing. Like he's a murderer, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like honestly, I thought that before Woody Harrelson was even cast for the first movie's post-credit scene, if what's his name? The actor that played Yondu.
Yeah, I was gonna say either him or Michael Rooker. You know, like
Yeah,
it was.
Michael Rooker. I thought Michael Rooker would have been a good Carnage, but he was contracted already
Yeah.
for the MCU.
That would make sense if he actually appeared as a different role. I mean, that would be confusing.
Yeah.
Mhm. I mean, like, but though I do notice both Woody and Rooker do have a history of playing very dark villains in like filmography. Like, Michael Rooker played a character called Henry, called Portrait of a Serial Killer, and it is essentially like a Carnage horror, like origin story if you look at it and everything. Like, it is so much that he would that I can see why people would have seen Rooker as him. It'd been fun, but yeah, like I think Woody did a great job.
Mm. With that out of the way, let's talk about Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock and Venom.
Yeah.
So much better in this, as I said earlier.
Mhm.
But I kind of didn't like how they, um, because Eddie is a investigative journalist, right?
Mhm.
I
Correct.
don't like how they kind of made him stupid in a way.
Say, like, they
Because
make him
like,
kind of
I would agree on that.
because
yeah.
like the thing about like when Venom made him look into the cell where Cletus would sleep in the jail and all those drawings on the wall. And then once he actually got back to his apartment and Venom drew it out for him, he's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "You were just there seeing it on the wall, dude. Is your memory that bad?"
And I was like, Eddie, you have a degree, you know, kind of thing. Like, you went to school. Like, Eddie, come on, man. You know, like, and I get like it's supposed to be a contrast to Venom's more obviously more violent tendency nature, but they kind of did play up the, you know, simple-minded nature of Eddie, which he's not that dumb in the comics, you know, like he's a meathead, but he's not duh, you know? Like
Yeah.
that's the best
And
way to put it.
Mean.
um I do like what is going on.
Well, the fact that you call him a meathead.
I mean, he's technically not wrong in doing that. He kind of is.
There's a lot of moments where Eddie like there's so many like intro moments where Eddie's just at the gym like gotta get stronger for Spider-Man and everything. I'm
Oh
like
yeah, that's right. The 90s
yeah
series.
like remember in the animated one where he's like lifting weights and I guess me and Marvin will understand this since we are two dudes who work out a lot, but somehow like, the bench pressing made his forearms massive, you know, or like
I'm
I
like,
don't
it's not that instant.
Yeah, agree.
but yeah, but yeah, Eddie isn't super dumb. Like he's not like Spider-Man's like brainiest villain, but he wasn't as the movie portrays him as oh gosh golly kind of thing, you know, which Tom Hardy has said and you can find this on Wikipedia and it's the funniest quote I'll ever remember. Tom Hardy said to research for Venom, not only did he read the comics, but he looked at Ren and Stimpy and everything.
What?
Real. So he looked at episodes of Ren and Stimpy for their character dynamic. You know, a violent, angry, assertive one, and a simpler, you know, a simpler one. So
Okay, I think I get what you're saying.
yeah, but that's why I so want to now draw Ven and Stimpy. So it's just Venom and Eddie or Ven and Eddie and everything.
Oh
It's just
God.
It was. I mean, it kind of makes sense at the same time. It's such a, huh, kind of thing. Like, all right, Eddie.
I,
Eddie's
l-
MCU
I
Stimpy.
love their fight in the apartment.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're fighting like a couple about to break up.
Yeah, like that was another aspect I love that they brought into this is that the symbiote itself has like that's the thing that I've noticed people in like art communities and everything sometimes forget and fandom is Venom has a personality, like the symbiote itself has like a separate mindset and everything.
Hmm.
And I really like that Circus paid attention to that. Like, oh no, and that he has a like Carnage. Obviously, his symbiote doesn't, and everything because
It's
he's
just
just
kill, kill, kill.
yeah, it's just kill, kill, kill. Which Cletus is like, all right, like same here. But yeah, I love that they played that up, and I like that the humor in this didn't feel like forced. It didn't feel really cringeworthy. Like, oh, we have to keep this in here to keep it a PG-13 or something.
Oh gosh. Speaking of
Uh,
cringeworthy, I'm glad there was nothing overly dumb like the lobster tank from the first movie.
the lobster tank scene. Like,
Legit, that is the scene I skip the most whenever I watch Venom, the first one. It's like,
I
oh
mean,
great, no, I'm gonna press skip.
fine with the just the buffet being a little ruined, but then oh, this is raw, and I'm like, okay, okay, like I forgot this is PG-13. We have to have some silly in here.
Yeah.
But what I mean is, like, I kind of liked it. It didn't feel like, and I've seen some people say this about certain Marvel movies where like the humor gets really forced in and everything, or like feels too quippy or sassy. And I like that this movie didn't do that. It kept as even though the humor was there, it kept the like creepy dark tone. Like I don't know, I liked it. I thought the writing was good.
And this movie, in a way, made me because like Eddie's not feeding Venom, and the fact that like towards like the middle of the movie, after the amazing Venom at the rave scene.
The Halloween party scene, like,
Oh,
sweet
that was a
costume.
whole. I thought it was just a rave party he went to.
I thought it was like because every horror-esque movie that comes out, I just assume take place in October. So I'm like, oh, cool, he's at a Halloween party, like because there's some people in costume, and I'm like, bet people are gonna cosplay Venom with the with the glow rings.
Oh, I'm gonna do that for sure. You know I'm gonna do it.
Ray Venom.
Ray Venom.
Yeah.
Just
We should
blasting Eminem over the speakers.
everybody's seeing Venom at a rave event. Like, wow. I mean, everybody, by the looks of the trailer, like, I'm pretty sure everybody just went crazy for him, even though they don't know that he's a symbiote.
You're
Yeah.
right.
Like,
I think what's funny is that that scene I noticed though when it was shown in the trailers, for some reason I don't know why like reception of it was so split. Like I had friends being like, "Oh, I'm not gonna see it now. It's too silly," and I'm like, "Have you read the Spider-Man comics? Silly is kind of like the mainstay here. Like,
I was so confused when I saw those little like
mhm.
advertisements that showed him at the rave. I'm like, is this a deleted scene or a post-credit thing?
Yeah, but it's like
Knowing
nope.
Sony.
It was like that's right there in the movie.
And
Um,
surprisingly, it worked. Oh, since
yeah,
we're still talking about the whole thing about Venom at the rave, he must have been through so many bodies and hosts to get to that place. How many people died simply from Venom attaching himself to them?
he's
Oh,
like
Jesus Christ.
like Venom got a crazy body count in this movie if you think about it.
More
Yeah,
so than Carnage, if you think about it.
More so
agree.
than murderer.
I mean, guy needed to eat.
Especially chocolate.
Yeah,
Right.
but the fact that it's like Eddie was basically having him malnourished, I'm like, oh man.
That's a super dark subtext, and like it is a thing that shows up in the books, but like it's always somewhat upsetting because I'm like, oh no, this thing's alive.
Yeah,
Like it feels weird.
when Venom like stumbles into Mrs. Chen's like grocery store and then that dude is just dying. I'm like, oh damn.
Right.
Like I don't think it's the fact that they were a bad host. It's just that Venom needed to eat and he just can't do it.
Yeah, because I know that like in the books, and I'm guessing it's also here. Sometimes Venom will also feed off the host when he's hungry enough and everything.
Yeah.
So I was going on there, but yeah, no, I think one thing I loved about this is just like I said, they don't stray away from like the darker aspects of the character, but also the sillier aspects. Like it's a good balance, I think, that they did.
hmm And like, there's also a character that was built up or sort of set up, but knowing how things are going with Sony and Marvel Studios, sadly, I think Toxin is gonna be forgotten about.
Yeah, sadly. I mean, I know it's a more of. I mean, I've been loving that MCU and like movies have been paying more love to obscure characters, but yeah, I feel Toxin's gonna go the way of like the Spectre in in DC's Constantine show. Like, here's your one look at them. All right, bye.
Agree.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and it's like, yeah, Toxin is just the offspring of Carnage, and what he's just red and black.
Red, blackish blue. Like.
Yeah, he looks more like Spider-Man sometimes. He looks more like Carnage and Venom sometimes. But
That was during a time they were making a lot of symbiote characters. I noticed also.
yeah, so if they do bring Toxin in for the third Venom movie, it's like, oh, this again. What's next? Like we had this twice already.
I honestly I remember there was talk of before obviously we get to the after credits scene that proved a lot of things. I remember there was talk of the Marvel villain verse that Sony wanted to do with like Spider, like there was going to be a Black Cat movie and a Craven
Oh
and everything.
God. There is a Craven movie happening.
Is that actually happening?
Yeah, Aaron Taylor Johnson confirmed as Craven.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's
I wrote an article about that.
yeah. So okay, so it is happening. So I kind of I'm of the party of I do want to. I mean I'm all for experimenting. So oh, villain verse sounds interesting. Maybe give it a cooler name. Like I mean I don't know. Other than that, I
I
think it
mean,
sounds like
Morbius is still happening, don't forget.
it's true,
Yeah.
and that is. I do want to see Morbius. It would have been out recently apparently.
It would
But
have, but it got delayed till January.
Thank COVID.
We still only have one trailer for Morbius. Just that
Right.
one.
The one, the
The
one
one trailer.
with the dark Beethoven song. I'm like, I can't keep watching this over and over again. I mean, I will, but I don't
You know,
want to.
can I actually say something in regards to the Morbius trailer? I feel like instead of like the classic music vibe, I feel like they could have done it a lot more creepier or something.
Yeah.
Probably like slowed down the tempo even more and put it a few octaves lower.
Or you know what? They should actually include one of my favorite songs from the Lost Boys, "Cry Little Sister." I feel like that will be a perfect fit. And after all, he is a vampire.
Because it's vampire
True.
goth, and that's a very goth song. I feel, and I'm hoping, and if they drop a second trailer, they really go with the goth aesthetic and everything.
I
Yes,
mean, Jared
That,
Leto is pretty goth too, if you think about it.
yes. Yeah. I hope they at least include a song like that, like "Cry Little Sister," because that song is the best.
yeah, I can also see them putting in the Sisters of Mercy on the soundtrack and everything,
Just put
or
Ghost on the soundtrack.
oh yeah, go to work. Like that would have been awesome. And like I said, I do want to see how this connects to the Venom verse or anything. Because I don't know, like I'm excited. I always liked the Spider. It wasn't like the Batman case of no one likes the hero, but everyone likes the villain. In this case, it's like people love the hero, but also the villains are really fun too. Like it's a good mix. And I'm like, yeah, I want to see some of these villains I grew up reading kind of be at their baddest and everything, or in Venom's case, not so bad. Like not so bad guy. Hopefully he
Yeah.
shows up in the next Boogie Bash with Agatha and everything. Like
That's still a ways off
I
because
know.
that's a whole licensing and distribution thing.
True, but I mean, if we can put Sid in there, like we can have a room that's you can imagine that, like it's a whole room covered in spider webs, there's just Venom there and everything. That'd be awesome.
True.
The future is
That'll be
bright.
pretty. That'll be pretty hard to pull off, though.
Sure. Well, maybe just lighting. Add like creepy lighting and spider
No,
web.
like to have Venom out there itself, like
Oh, yeah.
physically, because I think the official height of this version of Venom, he's about like 7 feet or 8 feet.
He's a big boy, yeah. Like he's a big guy, and it's funny that actually like it's fun like so because of that I noticed also there's people who really like there's people who are getting a huge crush on Venom recently because
Oh
he's so
god.
big and everything. It's I mean like I'm for it like yeah he's a big handsome creature but like
Yeah.
being split on like oh do I like Spider-Man more or Venom and I'm like how about both like how about both of them you can like them both. That's what I think.
Alrighty. Let's transition to the thing that everyone's wanting to talk about. And sorry everybody, but spoilers from here on out.
Please
Um,
let it be the end or something. Or the
The
what?
credit.
yeah.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
talking about that, but if you have not seen the movie yet, there's the
Please.
door. There's the
Yeah.
door. You can
Yeah.
leave and
the
come back to
scene
listen to this after
Yeah.
you've seen the movie.
seen that the reason why there was those posters that said no spoilers, like this was the scene for that.
And so the
Can I
post-credit scene
just say
starts
something
out
about
with
that in regards to that?
okay,
Mhm.
go for it.
Okay, first of all, I was really surprised, like watching the end credits. Basically, I never thought that Venom would be into telenovelas because I no, yeah, because I was watching the opening day with my friends, and I was like seeing that, and I was like, wait a minute, I think I
Was,
seen that novella before, and
wasn't
I was like, Jesus
wasn't
Christ, when did Venom became so obsessed with novellas? Wow, I'm so surprised that this guy. I should say I'm surprised I'm not the only one that is into novellas.
wasn't he watching like Maria la del Barrio or something? Like she
Yeah,
said like a really classic
something like
one.
that. Yeah, I think that was the name of the novella, but I'm not sure because I mean I recognize that scene, but like it's been so long because I used to watch telenovelas with my mom, and
Mhm.
God, wow, a telenovela featured in a Marvel movie. You never seen
Like
that kind of stuff every day.
it's nice to see Venom getting some culture in his life. Nosotros son Venom. Like he starts speaking Spanish to
Oh,
the villain.
We could have actually had because you said that, Johnny,
Yeah.
and it's Tom Hardy as Venom.
Yeah.
Who else did he play that should have been Spanish?
Bane.
oh my God, that would turn me on if Venom or Tom Hardy's character would have actually spoke Spanish the way Tom Holland did, because I really got turned on when Tom was speaking
Oh
a bit of
gosh, of
Spanish.
course you would with Tom Holland.
So speaking of Tom Holland though in this movie,
Yes, let's
guy.
transition on to that. So Eddie and Venom were just talking while watching the telenovela, and Venom drops some big, huge thing, and he says that the symbiote hive mind spans universes.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, as he's letting Eddie access it for the first time, like some weird stuff's going on, and then a big orange golden light happens. And where else was this golden light from? The spell
Yep.
that Doctor Strange cast and that Peter messed up. And
Yep,
then
yep, yep, yep.
uh, Eddie doesn't know what's going on. His dingy hideout apartment is now this weird, beautiful looking beachfront room, probably at the Disney Olani resort, probably.
Who knows?
But we see on the news, on the TV, that it's not the novella anymore, but it's J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson telling everybody that Peter Parker Spider-Man is still out on the loose. And then
And that theater
Venom
blew.
he
Hey, wait a
says,
minute.
hmm,
That also leads to another clue of No Way Home. If the spell actually happened, how come? I mean, if Doctor Strange did that spell, how come Peter's still being seen on the news unless something went wrong or people just didn't forget him?
I think it's something went wrong because remember, Peter was interrupting Strange, and Strange was telling him to basically stop tampering with the spell, shut up.
So it's
Oh
kind of
yeah.
a scenario and
So
everything.
it's like it. I'm gonna guess that the spell was working to a point until Peter just couldn't shut up, and then he messed something up.
Yeah, and that's
Mhm.
probably where entered and everything.
Yeah, that's what brought the uh, previous villains and spider people in, as well as Venom.
Yeah.
Which
And
I am hoping he teams up. Like I as much as I like the Spider-Man Venom team up, I'm like, I want one movie where he's the bad guy. In
I mean,
this.
we barely got it with Spider-Man 3, so
Yeah, does that even count? He never even said "we" in Spider-Man 3.
but he did look good though,
Didn't
to a
look good at
degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But back to the scene with the symbiote hive mind being
What it is.
across universes, as this Venom said. Does that probably means every universe has a variant of Spider-Man and a variant of a symbiote, and then so all symbiotes now see Spider-Man as a threat to their race. That's why Venom said in so much emphasis, "that guy," before licking the screen.
That what? I could see that as being was why Venom becomes like the villain in the next movie if they do it, and it would make sense because I do remember Canon Venom did see Spider-Man as that and everything since he was the one that to resist the symbiote and everything. Probably
Mhm.
senses that, so it got me hyped. It got me hyped and questioning like, oh man, what are they gonna do? Like because I'm hoping he shows up in No Way Home. That's the one.
I think if he were to show up, it's most likely going to be a post-credit scene.
Yeah, probably, but still would be good, because I mean, yeah, it would already be really bloated since we got Octopus and Electro apparently and everyone else,
Goblin,
Goblin, who I
And
remember,
maybe the lizard.
yeah, the lizard,
Sandman.
and I've got everybody coming in, which would make sense. That's the Sinister Six, which I remember Venom doesn't work with them. He's kind of a solo player when it comes to the villain game. Like he's
Yeah.
not play well with others, but I'm hoping that Venom, like he said, he shows up in a post credits or like something, and then it kicks off from there. Because I
Yeah,
remember
like
when,
he's following Peter.
yeah, that could be also it. Like Venom could be like trailing Peter this whole movie and everything, and then like if you have a keen eye, you can see like the shadow and everything, or like the symbiote goo. That'd be
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah. And
I'm
it's
down.
going forward, I think that the next time we see Venom, it is definitely going to be the crossover movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know.
So, with that said, it's not just going to be them fighting the whole time. I'm going to already know the simple plot. They fight a couple times, and then bigger threat shows up, and then they team up. What do you think would be the bigger threat that makes them team up?
I was gonna say a Goblin, but we already had Carnage, so we can't have Carnage again because I would feel like a retread.
And
But
with Venom fighting the Goblin with Spider-Man, it's no contest.
yeah, like it's also because it's 75-year-old Willem Dafoe, just Venom. Flick. I don't want to be mean to Willem Dafoe, but I heard that's why he's gonna be voicing the guy. Like they're gonna use like an animatronic or like motion because Willem's very old now.
And it's
Like
most likely for Green Goblin, they have a suit actor, like a stunt actor.
yeah, stunt actor, and Willem is gonna be doing the voice because I don't know if you guys saw the Lighthouse he was in that horror movie, but
That movie was so good.
it was so good, but he sustained injuries running upstairs.
Ooh,
So I'm like, and people are like, "How did that happen?" I'm like, "He is 75, like he is
he's old.
old." Yeah. So yeah, since we already have the Sinister Six, it probably might not be them as the bad guy for the Venom and Spider-Man team up. Ben looks at me. It would ideally be Carnage because that's who they've teamed up and fought before.
But
Or
Carnage is dead.
Carnage is straight up dead, like he's straight up splat. Um, who could it be though? I'm really thinking about that. Like, damn,
Who do
could
you
it be?
think, Brad, is Spidey? Who do you think?
I'm not too sure. Like, I have no thought.
Maybe Kingpin? Maybe like it could be a
That wouldn't
King.
be a contest either, because think about it. Like, yeah, sure, Spidey has fights with Kingpin before, but Spidey's holding back.
Mhm.
Even with
Sure.
super strength, Spidey would be able to take out this big guy without a problem. More so with Venom on his side.
Right? Who has no inhibitions and doesn't hold back, you know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So Kingpin's out of the picture. I mean, if anything, Venom would just bite his head off without a second thought. And then end of movie.
Like, well, there goes your hour. But like, I mean, if it is Kingpin, it would probably the conflict would probably be Spider-Man holding Venom back, and then they'd have that, we're not friends anymore kind of like fight and everything. Yeah, that'd be so convoluted. Now I think about it, like, that'd be like really like bloated as a movie. But
Oh, this is a pretty big stretch for who could the villain be, but if you kept up over the past couple years with the Venom comics,
oh
the,
yeah,
the god of the symbiotes himself, Null.
bringing that in the movie, like, I mean, like they have gone crazy concept, so I'm guessing they could do something like that, go cosmic level powers and everything. Like, do you remember the Beyonder from the cartoon and everything? Like something like that too, like a power level of that like magnitude.
Hmm.
One thing I always want to mention, that is the one thing I loved about Spider-Man comics and cartoons is at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, Spider-Man's super strong, but he is still like a thin guy in a like a spandex suit, and he's like punching out god level villains sometimes, like in the cartoon he fights the Beyonder and like friggin' like cosmic level things, and he's like, oh yeah, he's just a guy with webs, I'm like,
And
damn.
now he's tangled with Thanos, so
Yeah, he literally fought Thanos, So I think yeah, we can bring cosmic level villains into Spider-Man.
oh gosh. What if eventually they bring in in what is it called? The Inheritors, those vampire guys like Morlun?
Ooh, the one freaking that Morlock would be good for a for you remember how like they had the whole giant spider army crossover? Do
Yeah,
that for
this,
like the first three or something.
mhm.
I don't know, Bride. What's your opinion on how this might be going? The future of Spider movies.
God,
Because
it's hard to say, but like
because
what I do look forward. Sorry.
after No Way Home, which is gonna bring in pretty much all three cinematic versions
Yeah.
of Spidey, where would you go from this point? Well, what could you do that could guarantee another $1 billion?
Oh God, I'm really hoping that after No Way Home, maybe like get an introduction to Black Cat, or maybe Peter going off
Cute.
to college and maybe starting a family.
Yeah, like put the man in Spider-Man, like that's what I think.
Honestly, I'm
Like I
getting tired of Spider Kid.
say thank you. I'm kind of tired of like every time I've cosplayed Spider-Man, it's always the like people go like, oh, are you looking for Mr. Stark? And I'm like, I'm 25. like I kind of, and it's so funny that people I've talked to and they forget that like Spider-Man has had a good tenure as like a mid-20s to 30-year-old man, like being an adult. They're like, oh no, Spider-Man's always a kid. And I'm like, what? Like he's not
No.
a
He's
kid.
not.
Like really?
He's just. I mean, he's gonna turn like 19, but what I can say is like I'm hoping to see him, not only mature but also become something with MJ,
That
and
too.
also a
Yeah.
dad. I want him to be a dad.
Because he is in the comic. He's like he becomes a papa and everything, and it's a very
I
cute
know.
relationship.
Or
And
imagine
like,
if
I
he
mean,
actually becomes a teen dad. That would be
Oh
surprising.
no.
we don't want to send that message to the kids.
Topical.
I
Too
know.
topical.
Hashtag teen dad Spider-Man edition.
Oh god.
Oh God, no,
Oh
no.
gosh. And with oh man. This is the one thing that I don't like about Tom Holland's Spider-Man. The fact he is too young in
Mhm.
canon.
Yeah.
We're gonna have that if Black Cat does show up, we're gonna have that weird creepy vibe from Ultimate.
Oh yeah, where she was like way older, and like I honestly think if they do Black Cat and he's still young, just make her slightly young, just age her down a little bit around his age and everything, and
No.
Yeah.
but we
Oh,
get
No.
to.
you know what? No. Here's the thing
Mm,
with Black Cat. Obviously, based on the comics, I mean, she is older and she's an
mm,
adult and
yeah,
sexier. But at the same
yeah,
time, like with our Peter Parker, like, I mean, there's no problem of making her like like 3 years older than him, and then
At least 18, like just turned 18.
Huh?
And like at least make her like just turned 18, maybe 17, like him.
Yeah, that will make sense. And also like my idea for her, like definitely a little bit of the classic suit, but more like like a thief kind, like
Give
kind of
her
a
the
little bit like
PS4
how
suit
Tom
because that's
Holland was
perfect.
wearing the Night Monkey.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, she could
She
say
has, like holsters, but also like white highlights. I believe that will make a nice new look for Black Cat.
yeah,
Just
and
throw
that'd
the
be like
PS4 suit onto whoever's playing Black Cat, and we're good to go.
Mhm.
I mean, I like the idea of the thief thing that Bride was saying, because it really does work for her, especially like obviously don't have her start out as a quote unquote super villain, but yeah, she's a common thief, like she's a crook and everything that like is flirty, because that's kind of her deal, like she's not a bad girl, she just likes money, like she needs to
She likes
eat,
the
damn it.
shiny things in life. She's high
Right?
maintenance.
And like, you know what though? I want them, if they bring in Black Cat, I would love them to add like a really like sympathetic edge to her character of why she steals and everything. Because I don't know, it'd be kind of nice other than just like shiny. Like, hey, maybe she's poor. Like I don't know. I thought about that. Like, what if she's poor? What if she's got
She's
like
not though.
yeah, but like it for the movie verse. I mean, they've done that before in certain comics where like, yeah, she's hungry. Like you got to eat and everything.
And
Like
she's a
I mean,
flirt.
Then again, I think if they do that route, that's really close to Catwoman, because Catwoman's broke as shit.
Mhm.
Like in the comics, like yeah, Catwoman's whole like thing is like, oh, I'm really poor, kind of thing. Like, so maybe add something like that to Black Cat, and like the flirty thing is also a cover for like how she, you know what I mean? Like really go with this character's dynamic and everything. Like really, really play into it. I think, and I think it'd be fun to have her in there, maybe as a post credits somewhere in there. Have like a newspaper like says, "Oh, the Black Cat thief strikes again" or something.
That'd be a good way to introduce
Yeah,
her.
yeah. Introduce her as like she exists in this universe.
Hmm
I think so. What do you think, Bride? Like, do you think, like, in your opinion, Bride, do you think Black Cat should be introduced like, is like still just like a fun, flirty character, or do you think they should add like a maybe a sad, sympathetic edge to her and everything?
That's a hard one actually. I would say a flirty one because mostly when I see Felicia, like she's basically mostly flirty. Like she doesn't let like the dark side of her affect her as much. So I would say the flirty side.
Yeah, and also like I think it would be fun to add that. Like, it'd be a good break from like a lot of serious, like overtly serious tone and everything. Like, this lady's just out for fun, kind of thing. Like she's just out for her own. I think that'd be a fun take.
Also, with them introducing Black Cat, would they do the whole love triangle thing?
That too. Like,
Oh.
is it going to be a love triangle? Is she just not going to be it? Like that? Because I'm not gonna. I've always liked Black Cat more, is because like for Peter, because she was way more adventurous and everything.
Yeah.
Mhm. I would agree on you on that. I mean, everybody that I know is obsessed with Black Cat.
Oh, speaking of Black Cat, the pre-orders for the Black Cat Funko Pop sadly are all sold out already at Target,
I
and
know,
it's Target
goddamn
exclusive.
scalpers.
I was so mad.
I saw people camping out at my local Target. I'm like, oh, I know why they're there. Like
Freaking scalpers.
I know, scalpers.
they're gonna
Why
sell
can't
it.
you just keep the
Like
scalpers
I
out?
waited this long for a Black Cat Funko Pop to be made and released, and now I can't even get it because all the stupid scalpers.
Mhm.
You're like,
It's
no.
like, oh, this Funko Pop's $12. Now we're gonna put it at 50. What the hell?
You're like, wow, cool. That's a paycheck all down the drain.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think like, yeah, it'd be fun to have her in, because I think also like a character like Black Cat is good, not just because she's like hot, like a hot box of rocks, but also because like her fun and flirty personality is a good breakaway from like as Bride said, like the darker aspects of the Marvel universe and life and everything. Because it's like, yeah, she's not out to like rule the world or anything. She's not out for any big. She likes having fun, and she likes shiny things. It's
Yeah.
like it would be like a fun movie to have her in there, like, and then because she's not a bad person, she probably her and Peter could team up and everything. And that's the
And
thing I like.
it will
She's
give
so
Peter that thing like I don't want to turn her in, but I should.
Yeah, because like he's like, well, she's not bad, like that kind of thing, because she's not doing this for bad reasons. She just, is just doing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
at the same time, it's like him having that personal conflict with him wanting to go with Black Cat or stay with MJ.
I love that one of the mainstays of the Spider Verse is those massive love triangles. The love
Oh gosh,
dodecahedron.
and once they bring in Silk, how are they gonna keep that PG-13?
Oh, now that you mention it, yeah. So
How, like, Silk was not a very family friendly character there, Disney. Like.
No, I mean when they
she's
first
basically a
met,
slave.
immediately
Mm-hmm.
on a
She's very
rooftop
seductive of
too.
Black Cat, what I'm seeing.
What?
Yeah.
Haven't you seen so?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's really, really seductive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be like, but though if they bring in Silk, it'd be good, a little bit more good Asian representation, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, I'd be for it. But yeah, like, like I said, once they first meet, bam, and I'm like, I don't know if we could show this in a Disney property. Like,
Yeah.
we're really towing the line here.
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
Black.
Envy, I got a question for you. Like, if they do bring Black Cat into the MCU or in one of the Spider-Man next Spider-Man films, basically, how would you feel if Black Cat was a different representation of
Oh,
ethnic background? Like, what if she
Oh,
becomes
so
like
it's so like
a Latina portraying Black Cat?
Latina or Asian or anything. I'd be okay with it. I know that percentage of the fan base will be rioting.
it's like you know that if they have like a Latino or a black woman play her, it'd be like, I just want to say, I don't think that she should be represented this way. But like, if you look at Felicia's character, nothing about her says it has to be a white woman.
Yeah.
I don't know. In my opinion, like, sorry to interrupt, but like, I feel like Black Cat should I mean, if whoever gets casted as Black Cat, maybe in the future, I'm hoping it will be like someone with a Latina background,
Oh
because
yeah, I'm
yeah,
for it.
Hmm.
Because
because
like,
picture this. Not that many Latinos are represented in the MCU yet until the Eternals come out, which Salma Hayek has a Latina background.
And
I will say,
they did have representation with Ghost Rider until they said no, that's not canon,
Yeah.
and they canceled the show.
the ageless Mayan goddess Selma Hayek in here. I'm like, damn, you're 60. I don't want to take it off top. I'm like,
She
Selma,
does
you're
not look 60.
not at all.
She's
But right, she's gorgeous. But yeah, like I would love like a Latina Black Cat and everything, because mostly like I think it'd be cool and a big win on Marvel's for Marvel, because like like DC has put out Catwoman in movies and everything for years, and in canon she's Cuban, but
Hmm.
they've always had like a white woman play her and everything, like Anne Hathaway, or like as much as I like, everyone loves the Michelle Pfeiffer one because the kinky suit. I'm like quietly patting my thumbs here, like, okay, yeah, but she's Cuban, kind of thing, like, and brown, like that's what I liked about the Harley Quinn show. When they showed Catwoman, they made her tan and everything
Yeah.
like that, and she is voiced by a, like, I think she's mixed race and everything, but like Latin and black. But like like I said, like some good representation would be nice, because I know that like in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like there is the Latino kid and everything, but like that's one, like one out of everyone else.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Like I
and
know.
speaking of that, like when Zoe Kravitz for don't mean to go off topic with universes, but with Zoe Kravitz playing Catwoman for the Batman, no one's really complaining.
Yeah.
To my knowledge, I haven't seen people like do like change her casting campaigns or whatever. So, which is good. And to go back onto the whole Venom, Let There Be Carnage discussion, Shriek,
Oh yeah.
like Shriek in the comics, she has literally white as snow skin,
Yeah.
and no one was complaining about. I don't know this actress's name, but no one complained about her. But a couple years ago, when Domino was cast for Deadpool 2, everybody in across the board of the fandom was like complaining or something. I'm like, but Domino has super white skin. Why are you
Mhm.
complaining?
But I like our new Domino, basically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't
And
know. Like, I think
I think
he did
it's
a good.
mostly because Domino is such a well-known character that people were complaining. Do you think the same might happen to Black Cat?
Oh,
Theoretically, do you think the same might happen?
I'm sad to say as much because of the because especially because like she's such a like a hot character for people. I feel complaints would be even sadly more vocal, and I mean I'll ignore everyone I do, everyone I see if they like if they cast a Latina, I'll ignore every complaint, but it would just be really sad to see people like being just super angro about like oh they cast a Latin woman as her I bet and I'm like
Yeah.
yeah and what kind of thing. Like, and I think what it gets me is when people get mad about like a Marvel character having a quote unquote race swap, is they always bring up like aspects of the character, and I'm like, none of that said white to me, kind of thing. Like,
Hmm.
because they always bring up like, because they're heroic and they're this and this. I'm like, what? People of color can't be okay, like.
Yeah.
Side of you. So yeah, I'm team like I'm hashtag let's love Latin Black Cat. Gata negra.
Yep.
There, I'm for that. Like it'd be cool. I think so. Like, and it's sad that people do get really angry at Marvel for like daring to put people of color or other representation in their movies.
And then they say, "Oh, this movie's gonna flop because of this," and then when the movie comes out, it makes billions.
Like, you remember the Shang-Chi mess? I don't know, Brian.
Oh, that was good. That was
People were like,
hilarious.
"Ooh, Shang-Chi is such a flop. It did terribly. It's like box office gold right now." Like
And then Simu Liu posting like screenshots of those haters and putting LOL all over their thumbnails.
I think when I feel bad for actors of color, and whenever they want to portray just like a character they've really liked, or sometimes it is a gig, who knows, and they get like terrible threats online and everything, like they just get like the worst kind of messages. I'm like, man, let them just play dress up.
Oh, like what's his name? Ah, Wyatt Russell, U.S. agent. He left
Oh,
social media because of that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Poor guy. I felt bad for him.
Like, guys, he's not really the character. Separate the actor from their work.
Mhm. But yeah, back on the Venom thing. Yeah, I honestly do like that Marvel is, going these routes with their characters, that it isn't just, the same kind of like pretty white person over and over, but I also do like that they're taking more risks with their like tones and everything, that it doesn't all have to be, the same kind of quippy, you
Yeah,
know, save the day and then three acts kind of thing. Like, because I think this Venom movie, what I liked, it had a lot of tension. Like
it
it had
did.
like really good amounts of like, because in the other movies, like yeah, there's collateral damage, but no one's really harmed. With freaking Carnage, I'm like, oh shit, I'm really worried for a lot of these people. Like they're random people I don't know, but I'm like, please don't hurt people right now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, mm,
Oh, that poor grocery store guy at the gas station that Cletus Cassidy just stomps to death.
right? Like I'm like, damn, that was a
Oh,
brutal kill.
speaking of that scene, speaking of that, when uh, Carnage basically makes his fingers USB ports and puts them into that laptop, I'm like, wait, how does that even work?
I love that the explanation is probably symbiote.
How does the symbiote assimilate into the internet and pass government firewalls?
How does the symbiote know what the internet is?
Yeah, especially Carnage being just born.
I'm 3 years old and I know what the internet is.
Goddamn internets.
I'm shutting it down. But yeah, no, like that's what I like. This movie had like a lot of tension, which makes me then wonder, like, oh, I bet you there's Morbius is gonna have like pretty innocent people getting wrecked. Like, I mean,
Getting
because
the
he does.
blood drained out of them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because he does it in the comic, and where he like, there's someone like, innocently like looking at him because like, hey, buddy, you okay? Because he's like just turning into a vampire and everything,
And
and
then
then
bites them.
yeah, then bites him, and like in live action form, I'm like, this is probably gonna be way more graphic than I saw as a kid.
Jared Leto's gonna be so method. He's gonna be really bite people.
He's gonna be sending bats to people's homes and everything.
Oh no! Wait,
Like
hang on. Since we're on Morbius, who's the villain?
Morbius.
No, because like they had that one shot of the guy that played Doctor Who one season, and you could tell he's the villain. But who is he?
Dracula. I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, because I know that Morbius has a lot of history with like Universal monster lore and everything. But I'm like, is he gonna be Dracula? Is he
But
gonna be
Dracula's
like,
already a character in Marvel too, in the comics.
yeah, that's what I mean.
But
And
that's
like,
more like a Blade thing.
obviously it's more Blade's thing, but like, watch the Doctor Who guy be fucking Blade. Oh no, that's terrible. But I don't know. I'm thinking about like could be a Van Helsing thing. It could be like we switch it around and like a vampire hunter is like the bad guy and everything.
That'll be interesting. But wow, this is just all over the place for this podcast. But going back to Venom, the scene when Venom was holding Anne in the bell tower, my PTSD from Amazing Spider-Man 2 was like, not this again. No, no, he's gonna drop her.
Right? Like, and knowing Venom's strength when he lifts her up, it's not gonna be a back crack. That like just rip out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, and that's what I mean, like about like the tone of tension and everything. Like there was really like, crap, is she gonna be okay? I want her to
And
be
the
She
fact
Venom.
that Carnage was stabbing Venom at the same time.
Mm-hmm. That was so. This is a good. It was such a good. I love this movie. I'm like, if you're, I'm not beating around the bush. I love this movie. Like, and like, I remember the one thing I liked about it is I remember the first one took a risk with it, with even existing, because I remember people like dunking on this before it even came out. Like
I'm
the
guilty
first,
of that.
sadly, yeah, you were, but like, I was excited for it. I was super hyped the whole time and everything. Like, I don't know, Bride, do you remember when people kind of didn't believe that a Venom movie was gonna do good and everything?
Yeah, I mean, sort of compared to how Spider-Man 3 was there, but yeah, we don't talk about it.
Oh god. Oh, Spider. It seems like, and that's why I like the Venom movies kind of like fixed a lot for audiences of their perspective of certain characters. We no longer have emo dancing Peter. Like good. That's been dead for years, thankfully.
Agree.
Like just like I said, it was just, I don't know. Like I remember the reason why his representation in Spider-Man 3 was so bad is because like, yeah, Sam Raimi was like, I don't like the character and everything.
And then the Sony and the studio executives like, you put him in there, it'll make money.
You put him in or put him in or you're fired.
Basically, and they told him to do it like, I think literally a few days before they actually started principal shooting.
Yeah, and it was, and like they didn't give him any like, and they didn't tell him like, yeah, even though you hate it, you have to do it a specific way. They were like, just put him in, the fans will like it. We didn't.
I like some parts of it.
I liked some parts of it. Everyone liked
But
some
the
parts.
fact that it was not even like 20 minutes of Venom in it, it was like literally 10. I'm like, oh.
You know, like he was like everywhere on those ads.
Oh yeah.
And then the whole like, do you guys remember? Hey, Harry, I'm your butler. Your father told me not to tell you that he actually died himself. Like,
Oh god.
the butler kept the secret the whole time. You see the magic of the goblinite or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that was so. I get what they were trying to do, and I feel if like done better, this whole thing of like the butler thing being like a sort of Alfred to Green Goblin would be interesting, but they just threw this the hell out of nowhere, and you knew this was coming, Pete.
Yeah.
That
I
was
still think though the scene of Topher Grace getting the symbiote was better compared to how Eddie Brock got the symbiote.
because that was the church scene, because that was in the comic, and that was really well, like, and it harkened. And when I think what was weird is like Sam Raimi, because of his horror background, he could have totally made Venom way cooler. You know, like if they made him that like goopy looking thing, it would have been really interesting. You know, and then it's funny when you look at the old Spider-Man movies, and I find because in my collection, I have horror art. I have the concept art of a lot of the Spider-Man movies. Some of the concepts for the villains are super scary looking, and they might could have really gone with that, like the original Goblin,
Oh
like
yeah,
concept.
with that weird monster face.
Yeah, with a monster face and like the purple hood is like a cowl kind of thing. Like it would have been really spooky. And I thought, man, and everyone called it was so weird that everyone called the Goblin a Power Ranger look. You know, I'm like he doesn't
But
look
if
like
you
Power.
think about it,
A Power
with
Ranger look. Nah.
the
Right.
if you think about it though, in context of what, because Willem Dafoe's Goblin, the company was a weapons manufacturer.
Yeah.
That mask would not be. It's like, and they like he was gonna sell the Goblin, uh,
Glider.
whatever. No, not the glider, the armor, as well as the performance enhancers to military contracts. That's why it looks like a Power Ranger.
I'm something. Oh my god, someone needs to cosplay a Green Goblin and do like next to Power Rangers cosplayers. I'm somewhat of a Power Ranger myself.
Oh my god, yes. Do the meme. Do the meme.
Oh god, like it's perfect. Like I would have loved it. Like I don't know, it's so funny how many spider memes are just like a cultural thing, you know? Like there's obviously the dancing Peter, there's gonna cry, you know? Like there's so much
Oh
of
yeah,
angry
Bully Maguire.
Bully McGuire. You'll get your rent when I get this damn door fixed. I love the Yeah, I love what people say. Like, you know who the villain of No Way Home should be is the fucking rent guy. You
Steve
know, like
Ditkovich.
yeah, like oh my god, he should pop. All the villains are down and everything. The fog is lifting. He's just
He's the
walking out.
last member of the Sinister Six.
Peter, where is my rent? You know,
Tobey Maguire just leaves.
he does the Simpsons like back into the wall, the grass like to that. Like I said, like I can see them doing that shit as like a fun blooper because like I said, like the Spider-Man movies have like in the series and comics have always been fun. So and I do like that they've been even as dark as Venom can get, even stomping that poor grocery clerk, they do keep like some lighthearted, not super lighthearted, but some points of that you can breathe through. Though in your guys' opinion, would you say you could show your kids if you had kids over like this movie, or you would be like, nah?
I'd wait till they're at least like 10.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait,
because like I could be okay showing like a toddler Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man
Yeah.
Far From Home.
Mhm.
But I would not let them watch Venom 1 or 2 until they're like 10.
Right, until they're like a little bit old. Like there was, and it's funny, like it's not even like a swearing thing. It's the amount of gore, like
And just
Venom is.
just the look of Venom himself.
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised, and some people are saying that like their kids might be having nightmares from like Carnage specifically,
Oh yeah, definitely Carnage.
Which brings me to the thing of I don't know how, like I think me and Marv are probably the oldest people in this call, but do you remember when Universal Studios like had like the Marvel heroes at the land and everything? But
I
like
remember that they still have it to this day over in the Florida park,
Yeah.
but in terms of here in California, they were not allowed to have the heroes there. They only had a Marvel shop, but when Disney did buy the rights to Marvel, they had to close that store down. So in terms of Universal, they still have it over in the Florida parks, but here in the California park, they're not allowed to legally.
I was gonna say, do you remember when Carnage was at the Universal Park for Halloween Horror Nights?
What the
Like,
heck? No.
oh my
That's the
god,
first I've heard of it.
No, he was there for a while. He was like he was an icon of sorts. And like at the Universal Tribute store, you can buy like a Carnage Horror Nights like statue and everything. That's
Oh,
like
that's dope.
that's why they tell you like don't have any cameras out and everything. Like
Mhm.
hopefully anyone listening to this doesn't like hit up Mr. Disney. Don't get
Right.
you in trouble. But yeah, no, they had Carnage and other Marvel villains, like, and I kind of want to do that with Disneyland. So their whole thing was they'd have like the Marvel heroes are defeated and the villains are running the park. But this was 2002 or three. Things were a lot darker, and like you'd go through a maze and there'd be like, oh, a decapitated Spider-Man or Wolverine without his arms and everything. Messed up. So I'm like,
Oh,
I hope that Disney like takes a little cue from that and like makes like a spooky Marvel villains ride. Obviously, tone down the blood like a lot.
um, since you mentioned the Universal Horror Nights thing and Carnage, I'm just looking up on eBay right now just to check if there was stuff. And I'm looking at a shirt that says Halloween Horror Nights, Universal Islands of Adventure 2002, Islands of Fear, and Carnage's Dead Center.
Carnage was the main icon in the early 2000s for Universal's Halloween Horror Nights for a while, and there was straight up a suit actor and everything. And I remember going to Universal because they obviously have one over here in California. That the whole Maximum Carnage, they had Maximum Carnage like the ride and the maze, and before you enter, there would be like Carnage, like someone in a whole this very puff painted like shiny looking. It was very good quality for the early 2000s. And he was
Mm.
like, screaming at the guests, like, "Where are your heroes now?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is spooking me out, little, just barely 10-year-old me or so."
Were you like, this is a Spider-Man bad guy?
Like, "Oh man, get you!" Like little me being all like that, like.
Oh God.
Had like the other villains running around. They also had the Punisher running around, even though not like little nitpicky me was like, Punisher's not a bad guy. But
By today's standards, he'd be a bad guy. Oh no.
but yeah, like it's like I said, basically, I'm like really glad that these movies exist. Like, we can add certain like cape and spandex characters to the horror like mythos and like because I straight up say like people say like, oh well, the Venom movies aren't a horror movie, they're a superhero movie. And I'm like, there's there's superhero horror like The Crow, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
then I feel as a genre, superhero horror is not shown as much. I mean, we have Spawn and Ghost Rider, but like other than that, like which the Spawn movie was a thing,
We
like
don't talk about that.
which though it's funny because the way that the effects on the Venom and Carnage look, and they can totally do a Spawn thing now. I think.
Oh
Like
yeah.
been in development hell for decades upon decades.
Yeah, Todd McFarlane's still shilling for it. I'm like,
His
okay.
Instagram and look out, everybody! Here, the Spawn movie is coming your way this Halloween. He said
Uh-huh.
that like
Sure,
5 Halloween,
Todd. You said that like 7 years ago.
like 7 Halloweens ago. So, and I bet like that if cons were a thing this month, I think they're not. I don't know.
No.
Except for NYC.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that's going on this weekend.
I'm
It's
expecting a
already
lot.
happening, bro.
Yeah, it's already happening.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh
so
yeah, it started today.
Venom and Carnage cosplays. Like, I so want to see like, and I think the good thing about when these come out is really, I know some cosplay studios they really get on it and they like start pumping out really good quality suits and everything. You no longer have to deal with like, oh, it's like a Spider-Man suit, but it's kind of black, kind of thing. They really start actually putting out like it's a Venom suit. They look into other like versions of Venom, like I have now seen like multiple like Venom style like Zentais and everything. And I think that's what I like is these that's why I say like when these movies are kind of made like for the fans is it's a domino effect of good things that happen for fans, like we get our Venom content, we get, our Venom suit stuff out, more fan art comes out, it's all everything gets good about it.
Mhm.
A lot of good comes out of it and everything. And like,
I
it is
still
just,
haven't seen much Venom TikTokers.
I'm surprised actually. You'd think,
Cause
hey,
like
maybe
I know I do stuff. I know this one guy in Midwest does stuff, and that's it.
Is Midwest the guy with the puppet, the Venom
Yeah,
puppet?
yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah,
one's
yeah.
good one. That one's clever. I like that and everything.
Yeah, I wish I thought of that.
Little
But
aspect.
yeah,
Oh, I was gonna say another thing I love that Venom did differently as a movie is and as much as like it activates my buy button whenever like there's a Marvel hero and like here's the obligatory shirtless scene. I always love that like Tom Hardy's Eddie is never portrayed as like a sexy dude or
yeah,
like
he
he's
looks like he's dying all the time.
even looking dying. He's looking disheveled or tired.
Yep, and I'm all for that. Like, yay, we have a hero that's like
Dude,
not overly jacked or anything.
and that's the other thing. Like, I like that like Eddie wears like mostly sweats or like workout gear, but he's never like, oh yeah, let me just flex on these haters. Like
Yeah,
he's just
exactly. Like,
a guy.
I know Brad got excited for this scene in Homecoming when he took off his suit. I'm like, yes, let's show this guy, this new Spider-Man shirtless.
Yeah, like I have to say
Probably
the
fashion
obligatory shit.
guy.
Hmm. I mean, then again, I expect like some people have really worked out for a role.
Yeah.
Like freaking that's the stand-up comedian that's going to be in Eternals, Neon Kanjan,
Oh,
the
yeah,
Pakistani guy.
him. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Freaking ripped and
I
everything.
know. I was like,
Like,
holy crap, that transformation.
I'm like, dude, I remember you in SNL being like just goofy looking schlubby guy. What the hell, Like, damn, okay, like, all right, you flex that. But yeah, like, I do like that Eddie and even Carnage isn't presented as specifically Carnage. I like that they don't present him as like, dark husbando kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
they don't try to make him like something that Tumblr kids they can like simp over. They make him no, this is a
Tumblr still
bad
exists?
good one. But you know what I mean? Like they don't try to make him like a Tumblr sexy man. Like they're like, no, this is a bad dude, and he dresses like in a kind of a slime ball and everything.
He looks like that outfit that Woody Harrelson had. He looked like a bad guy on CSI Miami for that episode's week or whatever.
A murderer in Miami, which fits because he's a murderer. Like
Oh,
his
that's going back to what you said about Eternals, the actor Kumail Nanjiani.
he got ripped.
Yeah, he got jacked. Holy crap.
So I do love that. But I'm like, Salma Hayek, you don't have to do anything. You're just perfect. Like, I mean,
Yeah, she is.
you stay the way you are, Selma. We'll just let the camera work for you, kind of thing. Like, damn, woman. But yeah, like, I don't know. I like that the to me because of the Venom and the fact that it crosses over with the MCU. I'm like, this MCU future looks bright, and I'm thinking this Venom movie is killing a lot of people's burnout because I think you guys have seen people be like, oh, I'm so over the Marvel flicks and everything.
Yeah, one of my friends is so over it.
I mean, like, I get why some people would feel burnt out, but at the same time, it's like, man, I always say this, and I said this to a friend of mine. Like, if you told me, like, at 10 or 11 that, oh, yeah, all these really obscure characters that you really like are going to be household names, I wouldn't believe you, kind of thing. Like, if you told me that Angelina Jolie and Salma Hayek were going to be in a comic book superhero movie, little me would have been like, no, like, because you guys remember back in the days when, like, you like a comic book movie got like character actors or B-listers and everything. Not that I'm shaming a B-list actor. I'm a bit voice actor online, but you know what I mean? Like there wasn't a time where like, comic book movies were like the thing to make. They always seemed like the summer thing and all that.
Yeah, I mean, remember Steel?
Oh god, yeah.
Shaq?
It's on. My name's Steele. And oh god, there's one line he says in Steele, like I always remember, let's green egg and ham this. And I'm like, please stop talking, Shaq. Please stop talking. Oh god. The speaking of cringe and superhero things, like, you guys glad that MGK didn't do the song for this one?
Oh
Friggin'
God.
he wanted to do an I looked it up. He wanted to do the Venom song because Eminem did the last one.
Oh, he thought what? Did he think he could do better?
See, he was gonna make it called Carnage instead of Venom.
Oh God.
I love. Oh God, no! Like, watch MGK bust out a song for like I don't know, Purple Man or like the Leader or something. Like, like some low rent Marvel villain. Oh God, that sounds
Speaking of
terrible.
that song, the
Oh
song
yeah,
at the end of the movie, Last One Standing, that is good. Like it hits, but it's not as of a banger as Venom, but it's still good. I like it.
it took a little bit for me to get used to because when I was hearing it, I was still having Venom in my head, like the song. But I really liked it, and like, I will not lie, it was surprising to hear Eminem again on that because like I've noticed he doesn't really do comic book movies still, and he doesn't do like funny movies or fun like genre movies as much. But it was funny to hear him like again. I'm like, oh damn, you got Eminem back for this. You know, like it was a nice treat. I don't
Hmm.
know, Brian. What do you think of the song at the end? Were you like down with it, or were you like, eh? Right?
Hello?
Well, yeah, yeah. I
Oh,
was gonna
sorry.
say it kind of does reflect it.
But yeah, like I like it. You know, I like the tune. You know.
Yeah, like I'm familiar with Skylar Grey, but the other two rappers I was not familiar with, so I was kind of like iffy about it. But then the more I listened to it, I was like, they're pretty good.
Yeah, like I said, it takes a little bit of getting used to, but when it hits, it hits. You know.
Hmm. And of
And
course, when
I,
Eminem gets onto the part of the song, it's
I
just a
mean,
banger.
yeah, Eminem is kind of like a good candidate when it comes to like making music for films like Venom or yeah.
Yeah.
it's it's funny because when I say the two out loud, it sounds like it wouldn't mix too well. Like if I just say, "Oh yeah, Eminem's doing a Venom song," that's like, "Oh, that's weird." But then like you hear it and you're like, "Okay, he also like knows the character." Like he didn't. It didn't feel like I don't know, guys. If you guys remember when Pitbull was making music for like movies and like the song,
Oh God.
good dance songs, but they had like nothing to do with the movie entirely. Like
Yeah.
his song. It wasn't like that, where it's like a bunch of random stuff and then throwing in like Venom, kind of thing. Like it actually sounded like the Venom song and everything, and like people use it for like there's that TikTok of like the two symbiotes with like the boombox and Emmett and Venom is rapping and everything.
Hmm.
Like I think Morgan, I shared that with you, right?
Oh
Like
God, yeah, this stupid Fortnite.
rapping Venom.
I like that, but the fact that, oh man, I do, guys. Last year when I did a Venom TikTok, a stupid kid put, "Oh, I know that from Fortnite." I'm like, that killed me. That literally killed me for like 2 days of making content. I'm like, no, I don't want to, because I don't want toddlers posting that they saw this from Fortnite.
Fortnite is just like the collection of everything. Like DC and Marvel now exist in Fortnite. It's basically the Ready Player One of video games.
Oh God,
Not wrong. I refuse to be
the
wrong with
fact
that.
that DC has a Fortnite comic book.
Oh, I just remembered. Yeah, they do, and it's really bad. I mean, I'm a huge DC fanboy, like to the core, but I couldn't defend that. Like I couldn't defend the Fortnite comic.
Like, I can't defend DC doing the whole Fortnite thing as well as Star Wars doing their Fortnite thing. You know what they did for their Fortnite event for Star Wars? They put an explanation on how Palpatine came back in the Fortnite event, but not the movie.
That's so bad.
Yep. And that's why Oscar Isaac Moon Knight has that line of somehow Palpatine returned.
I
Somehow.
a little off topic from the Venom thing. I do remember apparently Oscar Isaacs is kind of meh on Star Wars now. Like there's a collection.
Have you ever thought of that? Because he's been casted for Snake.
Yeah, he's
Was
cast as Moon Knight, but then I'm just like, oh my god. Like if I ever meet him, I will never bring up Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'll
same.
just bring up Apocalypse and Moon Knight, but nothing Star Wars.
We'll bring up that him and I are from both one. I'll bring up that him and I are both from Guatemala, and like apparently my mom knew him as a kid. I'm not even making that fact up. I like how quiet it got after that.
Yeah.
So apparently, okay. So I'm a long story short. Oscar Isaacs grew up in the same town as my mom in 1960s, and they apparently just like knew each other as neighborhood kids and everything. Like, and I'm like, oh damn, my mom knew Oscar Isaacs, you know. But
Ooh.
yeah, like so. Yeah, I'm not gonna bring up Star Wars Oscar Isaacs. I'll be like, hey, remember when you were Apocalypse? That was cool, you know, like.
Ivan Ooze.
When he was, hey, remember when you were in that Christmas movie where you played Jesus' stepdad? That was cool. Like, yeah, he's in the Nativity. That's like that's a movie.
I like him in that movie. What was it? He was in that movie, and he was playing next to the actor that played General Hux in Star Wars. They were talking about like artificial intelligence or something.
Oh, yeah. No,
That was a good one.
you just compliment everything he's done. Just don't bring up Star Wars to him. Like,
Yeah, basically, just don't bring up Star Wars.
there's a whole collection of videos, a compilation of like Oscar just looking very miserable in interviews, like a sad Affleck thing
For Star Wars?
for Star Wars, where he's just looking
Aw.
very like they can fly now. He's asked people to stop doing that. They can fly now to him. Poor Oscar, you know. Though I will say, back on Venom and actors, I think Venom kind of like I don't want to say saved Tom Hardy's career, but a lot of people know him now as Venom because I
Good,
remember
because
people
his Bane was trash.
Bane was a bad like role for him, and for a while people were just doing that, and then they all ignored the fact that Tom Hardy was in Mad Max, you know.
Oh yeah, he was. I like
You
that
guys
movie,
didn't
but
know.
I like that movie,
You didn't know?
Mad Max Fury Road, but I didn't think it deserved an Oscar. I don't see why it got an Oscar. I just don't see it.
Oh my god! You know what? And the more crazy genre movies get Oscars over like Oscar bait sad boy movies, I'm happier with. And like I'm like good. A crazy car movie got an Oscar. I like that. That
Yeah,
was
Joker got an Oscar.
great. Well deserved, I think.
We live in a
I
society.
but no. So that's the other thing. So with Joker and Venom, I noticed a lot of people were wondering. Um, are they probably going to make, instead of hero movies, villain origin movies or villain centered movies? Like, do you think that's like the route?
I
Like,
think that's the route Sony is going for.
what do you think, Brian? Do you think that's like a good idea to make? Like, do you think people are like, if they're burnt out on heroes, like we should be going for like, hey, let's focus on villain centered movies?
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah, because like when Venom 1 was coming out, I was super excited, but when I showed my dad the trailer, he said, "Why are they making a bad guy movie?" I'm like,
Well, he's not technically a bad guy hero, but he's an anti.
yeah, but the fact that he would straight up eat people is still pretty bad.
True, but at least he only eats for bad people.
Yeah,
but think about it though. In Venom 2, even Eddie was denying Venom to do that. Like,
Hey, I mean, they're both. Venom's compatible with his body, so obviously he has to obey him.
yeah,
Yeah.
true that, but it's just like, but Venom needs to eat. Feed your pet.
It's like us.
And another thing I want to point out in the movie of There Be Carnage, he has a pet chickens. He has pet chickens.
I know, that was so funny.
Yeah.
Like, that was fun. That was a fun little nod and everything.
Venom's like, I'm starving. Eat those guys. No, they're friends.
That's what I love. I love that they gave Venom this really fun personality. I am happy to eat, Mrs. Chet. Just
That's a really good voice interpretation.
When Venom left Eddie and the apartment, when he attached to that one girl on the bike, he flipped them off.
see, like that's what I love. Like it's so it went like how a campy horror movie go. Like It's kind of as vulgar as it can be and everything. Little flip off kid, that was cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, back on what I was gonna say though, because I noticed that even Disney seems to be jumping on that whole like villain centered movies and everything. What with Maleficent and Cruella doing really good. I know they plan to do a Gaston movie apparently.
Oh no. I already know how toxic that movie's gonna be.
Like, so I don't know, maybe it does look like the route that they're going for is at least cinema is like painting villains in a different light, or like their kind of side of a story. And yeah, like as Bride said, Venom isn't a bad guy per se, but he eats people, kind of thing. Like, so having darker characters take on a lead role is kind of interesting, I think, especially
Yeah.
in this genre.
I would like to see from Disney a Hades movie.
Oh, yeah. Like, oh, speaking of it, it's also like Disney did the Loki series, which yeah, he's not at least in like live action, he's not a villain as much, but that still counts in that like line of
Oh
darker
yeah.
characters, lead roles and everything.
Mm.
So you guys also, I don't know if you guys saw, but when Venom dropped and people were watching it, people were quoting like thinking, "Oh, you can see Mephisto in this. You see Carnage's color."
Oh god.
I don't know why.
What is everyone's boner for Mephisto?
Oh my god!
Right? Like Agatha is getting a series, and immediately there's an article that says Mephisto all along, like that. I'm like, no,
Shut up.
no, no.
If I see some people at cons talk about like, oh, Mephisto's gonna be the next big thing, I'm just gonna go over them and like tell them to shut up. Because we're not getting Mephisto until we get a proper Ghost Rider thing in the MCU. So they need to
Like,
stop and shut up about Mephisto being in everything.
like the new Spider-Man, I know is getting people is getting the Mephisto people all of like, oh look, they put the devil horns on Peter. That's a hint that Mephisto is coming because in one
Wow, they're reaching so far up their own ass just to get Mephisto.
reach. Mr. Fantastic, like, man, now that's a real reach there. Like,
Reed
I don't
Richards
know,
is like, I could reach, but that's reaching.
like I don't know, Bride. What do you think about this whole, for some reason, Mephisto craze that people have over all this and everything?
I blame WandaVision.
Yeah, I would say. Sorry, my voice is kind of quirky.
Okay. Would you also say it's WandaVision's fault?
No.
Thank you. Like Marvin's like, yeah, I blame WandaVision. I'm like, I can see why people say that, but like, I think it's like, I don't know, people just so wanted like like Mephisto for some reason. And I'm like, and as MV said, like, I don't think we're getting that until a Ghost Rider thing comes out. Like it's kind of his
Because
bad
that's his
guy.
bad guy.
Yeah, but like there are Mephisto theories everywhere that it's now low-key kind of funny, kind of thing. Like that everything that comes out is like, is Mephisto in this? Like
Oh
it's like,
yeah, like remember the first episode of Loki when Owen Wilson's in the cathedral and then the kid points at the mosaic stained glass window of Lucifer with the horns. I'm like, and then everyone's like, oh, it's Mephisto. I'm like, guys, no.
I
He's
mean the
pointing at
theater
the
people
thing because the horns and Sylvie had a horned crown. Hello.
told me though in the theater people were going Mephisto like that, like it's gonna be Mephisto, and I'm like, no, like that's not, it's not the direction we're going. Like
Yeah.
so much I never thought Mephisto would be a character that people would simp this hard for to show up.
Right? Like, and ever since Spider-Man Brand New Day, everyone across the board does not want that guy around Spider-Man because that's what, in my opinion, screwed everything up.
The whole ruining the marriage and everything,
Freaking Joe Quesada.
like what does the devil want, what does the devil want with your marriage, Peter? Yeah, just like Peter's reaction, I don't freaking know. Like he's a devil thing, I don't know how these work.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh. But yeah, Venom 2, we went
Right.
we really went off the rails, just like the trains are going to be going off the rails in Spider-Man No Way Home. But Venom 2, we unanimously liked it.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing it tomorrow again after work.
Nice.
It deserves a rewatch, I think, because I'm sure there are probably tons of references and everything that are hidden away that you can catch as a fan.
Mm. Like I was looking out for Easter eggs, but as far as I know from my time when I watched it, I found nothing except for Toxin and the post-credit scene.
Yeah. But which were the biggest,
Yeah.
Like Bride, as a fan of Spider-Man, would you say that this movie does satisfy and everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think so. I mean, I think as like a Venom Spidey fan, like it's a good watch for it.
Mhm.
Oh, before we go, you know what would suck about the crossover?
If it wasn't good.
They don't give Peter the black suit.
Mm,
What
I
a
would
missed opportunity that will be in terms of merchandise.
really would like I. But then again, like I said, would it avoid scalpers making like fake, like Funko, like Peter suit and everything? Like, here, I got this for $10, but you could have it for 50.
Like, and then Venom has the spider logo just for no reason.
That's the one thing I was so hoping, like something because I'll say this, and I've said it years ago. Venom without the spider logo looks like Scooby Doo without his collar. Like I mean, I don't mind it. I've gotten used to it, but I'm like, he still always looks naked, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
this is incomplete.
yeah, like I don't know, Brian. What is your opinion on like Venom not having the spider symbol?
Um, to be honest, I really didn't care about them, but like, I kind of got used to his new look without the symbiote. I mean, the
Yeah,
symbol, the
I
spider logo.
gotten used to it too. Like, I mean, even going back to referencing Ultimate Spider-Man comics, Venom didn't have the spider symbol only on on the covers.
True, he was kind of a inky black blue creature, but I
Purple.
do say, on a design and as an artist, it does make his everything pop out more and everything. But hopefully, when the crossover happens, like what I was hoping is I don't know, maybe like a splatter of paint falls on him in this movie, and then like remember the Punisher blood where it looked like a skull and
Oh
everything.
yeah, in Daredevil season 2, yeah.
That's what I was hoping happened that's what I was hoping would happen with like Venom and everything. Like he's fighting and then like a splatter of paint, but then I'd be like, oh, I don't know if anyone would find that too forced and everything.
You know what
Like
would suck?
what?
He just sees Spider-Man and then forms the spider out of the white veins on his chest.
I mean, like I could see that happening like really quick, but yeah, it would be really anticlimactic, if you just like
Like,
that
oh,
guy,
I like that.
we like that symbol. Yeah, here it is. Kind of like
We could
just
make it look better.
a jagged one and everything. Like, but yeah, I'm like as Bride said, I've gotten used to seeing
Yeah,
Venom.
I've gotten used to it too, but I would like to have it on there, but it's like let it happen naturally.
It happen naturally. Don't just force it. And like, I think the thing that got me getting used to it more is just like how people draw Captain America without his helmet. A lot of fan artists we've been just drawing Venom just as a goop kind of thing, as like black ink, and
Yeah.
like it's just kind of the thing you get used to.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's what I think on it. Like it makes him scarier looking because he hides in the shadow more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ooh, do you think he'll have the logo in the new game?
Ooh, I hope. I honestly hope he does. Oh, I was gonna say tone wise. Would you also say that this movie? Would you count this in the spooky season like library? Like if you're making like a library of like go to spooky season October movies, would you be like hell yeah, Venom needs to be in there?
Uh, I think the first one would be more so.
Really? Even though this one's more violent kind of thing.
Yeah, because the at least the first one, they showed that getting a symbiote could really mess you up internally.
I can see that. What do you think, Bride? Do you think both movies really do fit for the spooky season going on and everything?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I think so. I think like you could put this on and be like if you're having like a Halloween get together, kind of thing.
Oh
You
yeah,
could
you could throw
totally,
either one on.
yeah, you could throw either one on and be like, or like if you're having like a Halloween like party and the rules are scary monster, someone could totally show up as Venom and Carnage and like totally fit in.
Yeah.
Like I'm down, with that. Someone shows up as Shriek. Someone shows up as Shriek and it's like, I'm Shriek. You're wearing clothes. Yeah, and because she doesn't like. I forget if she wears like a suit or has like a unique look and everything, or she's just like in her normal attire and everything.
She was just in normal attire, I think.
It's kind of the go-to. I noticed in like Marvel starter stories and everything is clothes.
Yeah. Oh, before we all sign off, I just want to say one of my favorite like comedic moments was when before the ending fight starts,
Mhm.
and then Carnage forms and says, "Death to you, Father." The priest goes, "Oh God, no, no, not you, Father, that Father."
That was good. Like I love that and everything. Like because I love that also. Like 'cause so do you before we sign off? Do you remember the fight in the first one? How like as much as Ravage, I think his name was
Right.
Riot. Yeah, as much as Riot was pretty cool. Remember like it didn't have the fun of this one where the symbiotes are talking ish and everything and like having banter back and forth or something. Like it was just kind of
Yeah.
monsters punching each other.
Hmm.
I like I like this one more where like there's the tension of like I really care for kind of like because that's the thing is Carnage I like in the sense of like yeah he's awful but like I kind of wanted to see more of him so I was a little tense like oh no I hope they don't just have him like just be raw monster.
Yeah. Because
Really,
that's what the
really
trailers made it look like. He was just like an uncontrollable monster.
yeah which they've done in the Spider-Man comics and that's like the weakest part of like reading like a Carnage book is sometimes like scream that's all he does. And I'm
Yeah,
like
that's how he was in the Ultimate
yeah
series. He was just a mindless monster.
yeah but I don't know I liked it and
Yeah.
thought it was
And I
good.
Okay, and there was that whole bit of Venom saying that we are the lethal protector when he was I was like, that was cheesy, but I loved it.
Yeah, but it was a good cheesy, kind of thing. Like it got me giddy to hear the words "lethal protector" exit his mouth.
Yeah.
Fun reference there.
Alrighty, so yeah, I think we put up our thoughts about this movie. I'm definitely gonna watch it again sometime soon because I really want to watch it again.
Any last thoughts you want to share, Bride, before we sign off?
I think I pretty much said enough.
Okay.
All right, cool. Like big fun time with big scary monster boy. That's how I perceive this.
And Monster Girl.
Oh
Oh yeah,
yeah.
She Venom.
Yeah. Which was cool to see. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of art of that.
Oh yeah.
It would be cool if they actually made like another Venom film, but the Bride of Venom.
Oh my god, can we call it that? Like that'd be
Yeah.
so like it's like a full-on like classic feeling monster movie and everything, The Bride of Venom.
I mean, they did Bride of Frankenstein, Bride of Chucky, so why not Bride of Venom or the Bride of Spider-Man? After me,
You need a cameo in it and everything.
They're
as
just
it.
they're just dead eyeing Zendaya across the street.
I really don't care. Besides, I'm happy with Tom and Zendaya being together.
Yeah, they actually make a genuinely cool couple.
I
Alright.
Better
still
than
think
the
Andrew
Clear and
Garfield
Steve.
and Emma Stone had the best chemistry. But that's just me.
Obviously, I like Emma Stone.
Oh, I do too. Those really blue eyes.
All right, no, this is good. Like, hope the good way to kick off spooky season is some round with Venom.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming on, and see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.